I'm here in Cornwall, New York to shoot some trains with photographer Stephen Mallon. Let's go.
I am an industrial landscape photographer. I shoot fine art projects around infrastructure, energy, recycling, and my current focus is on the rail and freight industry and network within the US. Whoops. The moment we need to roll audio in this room, there is usually a train coming by. My first photograph was shot when I was 2.5 years old. My father handed me his Canon AE1 in California to take a picture of him and my mom. And that was it. I studied photography in Rochester, went to RIT, got to New York, assisted other photographers for 4 years. I really wanted to find a way for me to be a photographer as my source of income, not working another job and taking pictures for the gallery. And it was a matter of what's the Venn diagram where I can be shooting what I love and get paid for it and put those images on the wall. Piece by piece, I realized that that area was going to be industrial landscape. About 2007, I was approached by a book agent about doing a coffee table book of my work. And I loved that, but I didn't think that I had like Stephen Mallon's coffee table book ready yet, because there was too many just kind of like sporadic images from different locations. And I started kind of brainstorming, taking a look at what I was like focused on, and realized that I kept on going back to like these textural maps at recycling plants. And so I hired a writer, and we put together a proposal to start photographing the recycling industry in America. And that got me access to scrap metal, to a paper mill, to a cement reclamation plant. While that was happening, I discovered the MTA's Artificial Reef project. The MTA dumped over 2,000 subway cars in the Atlantic over the span of 10 years. And they were done for artificial reefs and wreck diving. The Atlantic is basically a desert up here. There's not a lot of actual structure down there, so anything along the seabed is going to be good shelter for fish. Approached the contractor, who is this construction company called Weeks Marine, and they have these giant rotating cranes, and started going out with them to photograph the reef project. So that was supplementing the recycling project, not realizing that that was going to spawn off and be its entire own like exhibition on its own. But January 15th, 2009, Sully crashes in the Hudson River with an Airbus 320 after the bird strikes flying out of LaGuardia. And we are sitting in a bar, it's my wife's birthday, and she at one point says, "I wonder how they're going to get the plane out of the water." Ended up getting commissioned by Weeks Marine to document the salvage operation. So I was the first photographer on the aircraft and had exclusive access to the crash site. That project is what really kind of launched me into the forefront, and it just got a lot of attention. My life as a cinematographer kind of also came out of the desire of finding ways to sustain myself as an artist and continue to shoot the subject matter that I wanted. The Canon 5D Mark II had hit the market, and I realized that I was going to need to know how to be a filmmaker to survive, that being a still photographer was no longer enough of a skill set on its own. I didn't like the 5D Mark II. I didn't like the form factor. I didn't like the idea of shooting video on this camera, but I was okay with the possibility of doing time lapse. And then fortunately, Weeks Marine called again and said, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but we're delivering a bridge in a couple of weeks. And I was like, really? It's like, I would like to make a movie about this. It's like, I'm not going to charge you for it because I can't 100% guarantee that it's going to work. So just get me in, let me shoot, and then we'll see what happens. So I ended up calling in a bunch of favors with past interns, current interns, friends, and we set up remote cameras and followed the delivery of the bridge that was built just outside of Albany and then towed down by tugboat and installed in the Harlem River. I've been really fortunate getting access to these locations to photograph through my relationship with Weeks and editorial assignments with National Geographic, the New York Times. They were able to get me into these locations that I normally was not able to get into. I realized that I wanted something that I could shoot without having to ask for permission. And we had recently left New York City and moved up to Hudson Valley and discovered this freight line that was just on the other side of the river, where I was able to set up a camera in this public parking lot and shoot. And I had shot trains in the past, but what I was doing, the technique in the past was that I would just use a long shutter speed to blur the motion out just to get this kind of like color wash in the landscape. And I decided to take this project in the opposite direction and focus on the object of the cars and the locomotives themselves, and take a look at both the engineering and the design, the age, any the artifacts, sometimes the graffiti that was on there, and how it related within the landscape specifically. So I started shooting the cars one by one at a very high shutter speed to stop the motion, and also decided to crop the frame down to a 3:1 ratio. So it is really focused on the car and the elements of the landscape. Part of the joy is finding the unique locations mixed in with finding the unique car. So the moment that a car come by that has, either the right graffiti on it or the graphics or like those rare moments where I get an open boxcar coming by and I'm able to shoot through those is just magical for me.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
Yeah, another one. Oh, and it's another good one. Look at that. See, there's the mixed freight again. Yeah. This is the stuff that I love.